Hey everyone, how's it going? Hopefully we've got a few people tuning in today. My name is Nick Gunn from We Are Nexus. And today, as we've done over the last 3 to 4 weeks, I've been discussing various tips and tricks in the studio. We started off with vocals, best way to approach them, what to do with them in the recordings, and how to mix them well. And then we also covered EQ last week. Or was that 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago was EQ. Last week we talked about effects, reverbs, delays, and echoes. And so this week we're just going to take just a couple minutes to discuss compression, because I know there's a lot of producers, especially emerging producers, who have a lot of question over what compression actually is. So compression is an artifact, or not an artifact, a man-made device in the studios that automatically adjusts the level of instrumentation in the mix. So basically, naturally, when we speak to each other in normal circumstances, your ears tend to adjust or compensate naturally in the environment for loud noises and soft noises, or your brain interprets them that way. But when you record this material, you want to make sure that everything is being heard properly, and compression is one of those ways to do that really effectively. And compression, unlike a lot of other tools you can use, you really want to find great quality compression. And the reason being is if you don't, you will find that you'll get a pumping effect, or you'll find that the sound will sound too squished in the mix. It will sound too compressed, overly compressed. And so tube pre's and other solid state devices really work well if they're of high quality. Today we're going to be actually doing a quick few tips and tricks using solid state Logic G-Bus compressor, which is what I totally love. It's one of the best in the industry. Obviously the G-Series consoles were epic, and they still are. And they've licensed out the technology where you actually can use a G-Series bus compressor and a plug-in. So we're going to be using that as an example today. Agreed, I know, it is a damn good compressor. It's also great for pop and rock, because notoriously over the year, G-Series consoles have been used over and over again in that genre. Oops, and it fell. Okay, hold on folks, here we go, my phone fell. So basically, what is compression? Well, there's only a few things I personally think you really need to understand, and that is, if, like, let's say for example you have a vocal track. When your vocal gets really low in the mix, or it gets too loud in the mix, compression can automatically adjust those levels, making it a nominal sound in the mix without making it sound too squished or too fake. And that's why great compression really matters. The better the compressor, the more natural this effect will sound. And so when you're using your compression, the main thing to look at is your ratio. And a lot of people say, well, what the hell is a ratio? It's quite simple. If you're using 2-to-1 ratio, it means for every 2 decibels of level getting into the compressor, it's going to give you 1 back. Will you be using hardware plugin today? Yep, we're going to move to the digital audio workstation in just a couple minutes. We're going to be using G-Series bus compression and working with kicks, getting them to really pop and with a lot of punch in the mix using compression. So basically, just a real quick understanding of what ratios are. 2-to-1 ratio means that for every 2 decibels, you're going to get 1 back. If you put in 4 decibels, it's going to give you 1 back. That's a 4-to-1 ratio. And heavy compression, 10-to-1, is for every 10 decibels getting in, you're going to get 1 back. Normally, drums and basses, stuff that you can really hit hard, sound great at 10-to-1. Vocals, you want to stick to maybe 2 or 4-to-1 compression. And just depending on what you're doing, you want to play around and see what your ears like. Now, kicks, especially in dance, in an EDM, particularly, we want to get a lot of punch out of kicks, and compression is a great way to do that with EQ. And how is that? Well, because certain compressors, what they do is they take certain frequencies and they compress those frequencies, not the entire spectrum. They compress either low end, mid range, high end, or anything in between. You can assign certain frequencies to compress only, or you can expand those frequencies. So, all right, enough said, right? We want to go right to the digital audio workstation. We're working in the box today. We're on a Mac. We're using SSL solid state Logic, and we're working with an 808 kick. Let's go. All right. Hopefully everyone can see this. Kind of set it up where it should be cool. All right. So basically, what we have is the bus compressor up, the SSL G-Series compressor up as a plugin. And I'm working with an 808 kick. Let me play that kick for you real quick. .808 kicks are great. This is one of my particular favorites. It's really, really good. Now, how do you get an 808 kick to be super punchy in a mix? Well, yeah, T808, that's the one, buddy. So bottom line is this is what I'm doing. Is I have a preset, and presets are great with compression because what they do is, especially with the solid state logic plugin, they're already compressing certain frequencies and pushing other frequencies. Now in particular, if you see this one punch, what is happening here on a 2-to-1 threshold right here is it's compressing frequencies that are very, very, very low, but it's boosting frequencies that are around about 100 hertz, which is where you get the most punch out of kicks. So when you play this, what you're hearing here, we're also looking at, because my threshold is cut way back over here, we're looking at about 12-to-1 compression on this kick. If I release it, in the studio here, you can hear all the low end filtering through. Now, if I bypass it, what I'm getting is a ton of punch at 100 hertz, and I'm getting reduced frequency on the super, super low. Now, why do you want to get more punch out of your kick rather than super sub? Because when you add your bass lines, those frequencies are going to interfere with your sub lows on your kick. You want more punch out of your kick than you want extra low. Otherwise, you're going to have what's called frequency cancellation and all kinds of problems. So bottom line is what we're looking at here is using, and this is a great tip for anyone who wants a really hot, super progressive house kick. Use solid state logic, use an 808 kick, use a 2-to-1 ratio, and use the punch preset. And then push your threshold way back so you're boosting all of that 100 hertz and also compressing anything below probably about 80 hertz. Now also what I've got on this, if you open this up, after I've compressed, I've also gone in and added a whole bunch of, we're looking at about 3 kilohertz, 3000 hertz at about 10 decibels. So that's giving it a lot of smack in the low, high range, well, they're almost to 5K, so you're almost getting into the high range, but basically at about 3000 hertz or about 3K, you're getting a lot of crack. So basically, and I'm not talking about that kind of crack, I'm talking about the smack you wanted to kick. So, but bottom line is the combination of those two things will get you a really, really solid kick in the mix. All right, guys, here we go. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back with some more tips next week, and we'll keep moving this forward as the weeks go on. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.